Hello and welcome everybody. It's Rose Smith here from AbsoluteSoulSecrets.com. Thanks for joining me for the Savvy Sagittarius 2023 Horoscope. Well, we've all been through a lot over the past few years, but there are some really favourable influences coming up in 2023. It's like we're turning a corner, thankfully. For you, dear Savvy Sag, you'll be pleased to know that there's a lot happening to do with your personal finances, lots of changes there. So do stay tuned and let's get into it. Okay, here's your horoscope, but before we come to that, let's have a look at these cards. I like to draw two cards as theme cards for the year for you, and I like to have a little vision before I pull the cards. There's a white door opening in front of me. I've got my eyes closed now. Something going on with these cards here. Yeah, I'm going to go with the one on top. But I've still got my eyes closed. So the white door. So this is about going into a new plane of existence. Now I see a pair of sort of horned rim, sort of speckle type glasses. I think this means that you're going to be investigating or looking closely at a lot of things perhaps to do with your finances. Then I see a diamond ring, and it's like an eternity ring. So it's like Spirit's saying they're giving you a gift, a very precious gift of clarity, which is yours for all eternity. The card, oh gosh, here it is again. It keeps coming up. I shuffle the deck between star signs between videos, and I was shuffling it as I started, but here it is, Page of Pentacles. This has come up so many times. Okay, so messages coming to you about your money. Pentacles is all about the money, honey. Sometimes can be to do with your possessions, or even less likely your physical body. Mostly it is your finances. Now, there's a lot you don't know about what's going to happen, but there are some things you already have an inkling on. See, she's got a white collar here. There could have been some discussions or communications, so you might have a bit of a vague idea, especially if you've got any sort of psychic ability. Now here we have red, so action to be taken. You may have had a few worries about finances in some regard, but look, they're just worries. They're just things going on in your head. And the thing about clouds is they blow away. There's a lot of blue sky here for you. Okay, so, and the other thing I like to see about this card is the ground. There's some real practical, down-to-earth energy here, which will keep you, quite stable, even though there is a lot of changes here that we'll talk about in a moment. That's the first half of the year if you want to go by time. Now let's have a look at the second half for Savvy Sag in 2023. I see a cross. It was like on a chain, or like a bracelet chain with a cross hanging off, and you're taking it off. You're taking the whole thing off, which is good because crosses represent sacrifice. If you look at how a cross is made, it's the energy coming, the vertical energy coming down from heaven to earth, but it's cut in half by a horizontal cross current. So it's breaking that energy up, and then you've got two flows in, different directions, two flows of energy, which is distracting at the very least, but it certainly fragments your energy. And especially if you want to earn money or, have a good life, you need everything going for you. Let's see what burden it is that you're actually dropping. And King of Cups, there's something here about the emotions. Maybe the emotions have been ruling you in some way. This is a master of emotions, this energy, the King of Cups. He feels all his emotions intensely. It's not that he's avoiding them or sticking his head in the sand or anything like that. No, but he is master. He realizes that he is more than just his emotions, okay? There's a very finely tuned, balanced human being here who has a lot of intuition because of this indigo colour. So it's the colour of the third eye, the gold around his throat. He's in touch with his subconscious. The sun here providing a lot of really favourable insight and perhaps even happiness. So it's quite a beneficial card. It's usually somebody who has a lot of compassion and understanding, and even though he does that, he's quite successful on a physical plane as well. So very balanced person who's usually quite helpful and kind to others. He can help you out. If you don't know anyone like that, then I suggest you have a look inside yourself, because deep down in your subconscious there, the subconscious waters, you'll have ancestral energies that can help you out with that. Okay, so they're the cards. Now bear those in mind, and we're going to go to the Zoom board and move everything up a bit so you can see what is happening. Okay, and bear these two cards in mind because they're likely to come up. Okay, so here's your horoscope, Savvy Sag. The first thing to note, and I was remiss because I didn't write them in, all these retrogrades here, this is what we're starting the year with. Did I miss one? I thought there was another one. Okay, we've got Mercury, the node, Uranus and Mars, that's right. And the other node here, right. Okay, so we're starting the year with this. So it could be that it starts off slowly, and as these planets and the nodes turn direct, more and more energy becomes available to you over the course of January. I don't think it's a bad thing, starting slow and warming up to the year, so to speak. The important thing to note is that Mercury's retrograde until the 18th, Mars is retrograde until the 12th, and Uranus is retrograde until the 23rd of January. Now there is a thing called shadow period that exists after all these dates, which is different for different planets, of course, but it means that the energy is gradually just getting weaker and weaker. These things don't turn off and on, you know, like a light switch. They're gradual, and we'll find that the energy comes in more gradually, but there could be some surprising realities that come into your mind that you hadn't thought of, especially to do with, like, Uranus here in your house of health and habits and work. There could be some sort of surprising thing. It's not necessarily negative. It could be, you know, a positive thing, that there's some, you know, like lightning bolts striking out of the blue. It could be actually a good thing and burn the place down, and then you get a new job, for example. I'm being a bit facetious there, but you get my gist. Mars here also in your important house of important, significant relationships. Just watch that because it could be that there's a few arguments or something like that, but then when it turns direct, things improve and there's a lot more energy for the relationship. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is this is supposed to be a triangle. It's got a lovely name of Eagle Eye Pattern, and we have Saturn here in your third house as what's called the focal point. The energies of Neptune, Saturn and Mercury all combining together and being directed into your third house of communications and also ideas, perhaps siblings or cousins. Maybe you have some connection with them again, especially those that you haven't, you know, had any sort of messages or anything from for a while. And also neighbours and your local area and study, you know. So it is a thinking house, a house about thinking. So you might notice that you're getting some particularly brilliant ideas, especially after Mercury turns direct on the 18th. Before that, thinking might be a bit cloudy or a bit confused. especially I was talking about this card, the clouds in the sky, and Mercury here in your second house. So there could be confusion over your finances at the beginning of the year while Mercury is retrograde, okay? But this nice little triangle, which is technically 2 semi-sextiles and a sextile, it's all about bringing insight and awareness and intuition. It's like you have a hunch about something to do with your communications or these brilliant ideas that you may have. So please write them down, or alternatively record them into your phone. I don't know what the latest technological U-boot thing is, but we used to say in the old days, memo scribe, which nobody probably knows what that is anymore. But yeah, record them into your phone so that you've got those brilliant ideas, because they'll come and they'll go really quick. Okay, so first cab off the rank, what I'm going to talk about is Jupiter and Chiron in Aries. Okay, so here in your 5th house, which is all about your creativity, romance, and the fun in the sun, the leisure and pleasure that you might have. Now, at the beginning of the year, January, these two are not conjunct, but from the 24th of February to the 5th of March, Jupiter is going to catch up to Chiron, because it takes Chiron 50 years to go around the whole zodiac wheel, so it's much slower than Jupiter. These two are going to come close to each other, and then they're going to blend their energies, and it could be sometimes Chiron will cause a sore point to come to your attention, because it might hurt in some way. It's a bit like a scar, if you have a scar from an old wound, under certain weather conditions, it might play up a bit, and it could be a situation like that. But it's happening, so you're paying attention to it. And the reason that the universe wants that to happen is because there's a healing, an opportunity for a healing, and the universe wants you to grab it with both hands. So it's a healing around your creativity, or around your romantic life, or perhaps socialising and having fun. Maybe you've been working so hard you've forgotten how to have fun, or maybe you just forgot how to have fun for one reason or another. It doesn't really matter. But there's a healing around that. So that's excellent news. Saturn goes into Pisces from the 7th of March to the 24th of May 2024. Okay, so 2 years and 2 months here. So it's moving from this 3rd house into your 4th house of home and family. Okay, so typically we think of Saturn as a hard taskmaster. But it could be, because it's in your house of home and family, it could mean that you're doing a lot of hard work around the family home, or you're getting organised, you're cleaning things out, and just getting everything in its place. Saturn loves that. If you can straighten up a room and get rid of those cardboard boxes, I've got 3 in my back room that I've got to deal with. It's been there all year. It's on my list. Saturn really loves that. So Saturn will help you get very serious about stuff around the house, and also to do with family. If a family member is playing up or not towing the line or causing trouble, Saturn's going to have something to say about it, because Saturn doesn't like anything that's out of the box, unusual. It wants everything. It wants to maintain the status quo. It doesn't like change as such. So, it could be quite beneficial. The other side of that is that maybe there's some, unnecessary rules or restrictions around your home or around your family life that you'll need to look at, because just restrictions and conservatism for the sake of it isn't a good idea. You've got to get a balance with innovative, new, progressive ideas and conservatism around the family unit. Okay, and just there I'm getting a bit of a flash about teenage daughters, and they want to do things because their friends do things, and perhaps the parents want to do things the old-fashioned way. So there could be some arguments about that, and so you have to sort that out. But just being hard and fast for no reason, it's not a good idea. And they resent you for it in the long term. So is it worth it? Only you can tell. Then we have Pluto going into Aquarius from the 23rd of March until the 11th of June. It's like a little taster. It's moving out of your financial zone. You might be very happy about that because it does bring up a lot of deep and compelling feelings, and it is associated with life, death and rebirth. But the phoenix rises, you see, the rebirth comes. So is something maybe around study, for example, because of the third house. Maybe you studied something decades ago and you let it drop and it died for one reason or another. You might have had children or something and you didn't have time. You know, you used to play the piano and you were a pianist of world renown, and then you had children and you forgot about it. It could come back. Okay, because it comes back in a slightly different form. So you might decide, well, instead of doing, old-fashioned classical music, now that you're going to do rap or something, it comes back in a modified form, and that's the rebirth. You know, I'm being very tongue-in-cheek about this, but you understand what I mean. I hope you do anyway. Then we have Jupiter going into Taurus from the 16th of May. Oh, sorry, I didn't finish actually. So what Pluto does is it's coming into your third house for a little taster for 3 months, and then it's going back into your second house of personal finances, bringing up a lot of emotions there. But it'll only be there until the 31st of January 2024, and then it will come into the third house proper under the auspices of Aquarius, and it's going to be there for 20 years. So there'll be all of these sorts of deep energies, and can give a lot of insight. You know, it's not, none of the planets are bad. You know, they all have positive and negative aspects. So it can bring a lot of insight around your communications and around your thinking. It's also associated with difficulties like abuse, control, power over, very deep obsession, compulsive type stuff. So yeah, just watch for that. But I always think that when that stuff does come up, it comes up for most people, you know, at some point in their life. I always think it's to make you aware and to give you greater insight and greater knowledge. So even though it might be pretty awful, you know, when you're going through it, you can look back and see, now I understand why that happened, you know. So you could, in fact, even be talking to people. It might not even be you. You might just have a lot of that that you're hearing about from people who are close to you, or your friends, or maybe your family. But there's communications probably about it. There's thinking about it. You know, you might be working in that area and you're putting a lot of study into why people do the things they do. And you'll be studying that forever, probably, if that's the case. Alrighty, so that's all about Pluto. And then we have, Jupiter going into Taurus from the 16th of May, or the 17th if you're in Australia. Add a day extra if you're in Australia and New Zealand to all these dates. The 16th to the 25th of May 2024. Okay, so this is in your house of routine, your everyday work, your health, your well-being is going to increase. If you're only working casually, you might find that you've got a lot more hours you could work if you wish to. And if you've had health problems, you might be feeling much better. Jupiter it expands everything it touches. So if you've had a few health problems, You might find it's a very benevolent energy, by the way, and it brings good luck. And so you might find an improvement, and that you actually have more energy than you had before. It's also a great teacher. It's a mentor. It's a coach, somebody who helps you through in your everyday life. Or you could be doing that for somebody else. You could be helping out. So really beneficial. Then Venus is retrograde in Leo up here from the 22nd of July to the 3rd of September. And this is about expanding your life, maybe study. Things could go quiet if you've got a lover that's overseas. Something happens, maybe you're planning to go there and you couldn't. Or there was delays. So you might decide that you're going overseas in March, but you don't end up going for a few months later, for example. But the 9th house is called the house of the higher mind. Sometimes it involves study, usually quite significant study or formalised study. And with Venus there, retrograde, there might be an issue with money, or maybe things just go quieter. Maybe you don't have the same rapport with your classmates, or you're just busy. It doesn't mean that there's anything desperately wrong. It's just that the energy is internalized. You might be thinking about it, but it's not like physically happening like it was before. In terms of eclipses, there are 4, which is quite usual. 20th of April, it's in the first eclipse, which is a solar eclipse here. And this is likely to bring new beginnings around your creativity, and you could start doing stuff and putting it on display for the world, for friends, or, people start seeing how creative you are. It's also to do with leisure and pleasure, and you might decide that you're going to start socialising a bit more, getting out into the world more, living closer to the world of the child and having some fun. And new starts also in romance. And you do have Mars here in your 7th house, so it could be that any significant relationships, business or personal, or, if you're married, for example, there's a lot of energy goes into that. So there's a certain degree of, romance involved, perhaps, hopefully for you anyway. There's a lunar eclipse on the 6th of May in Scorpio, dredging up a lot of deep feelings, and they're coming from the subconscious, okay? It's a clear out for you. That's okay. There's not likely to be much in terms of physical effects. It's just holding the energy and how you feel. Take note of how you feel. Solar eclipse in Libra on the 14th of October up here in your friend zone. You could meet new friends, start new connections or new groups, or new hopes and dreams. And a lunar eclipse in Taurus on the 28th of October. And Taurus, where are we? Here. So a lunar eclipse gives you a shake-up in terms of what you do on a daily basis, your habits, your work, your health. And you might decide that it's time to start a new health regime. It's not a bad idea. Okay, and then Mercury's retrograde as well, 4 times this year, starting the 21st of April, the 23rd of August, the 12th of December, for about 3 weeks. And, there's often miscommunications, misunderstandings, problems with travel, problems with technology. But anything that you started before those dates, it could give you a boost to go back and finish those things. Alrighty, so that's it, Savvy Sagittarius. I hope that this has been helpful to you. I just want to wish you all a Merry Christmas if you do celebrate Christmas, and a most prosperous and wonderful 2023. Things are looking up finally. And if you are new, please consider subscribing to this channel and hit that notification bell right now. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye. Thanks so much for watching.
please visit my website absolutesoulsecrets.com for all things spiritual. Have a lovely day.